We are live, and I did send let me make sure I did send because there's often times that I think I send. Okay, I did send. Let me make sure I marked it as okay. And we are live, save, stop. What are you doing, you ding dong? Oh, why is it having this moment? Okay, maybe if I remove this, add to stage, save. What is going on today? I have no idea. All right. Stop screen, present, share screen, share, save. All right, let me leave studio, come back and see if it'll. All right, guys, let's see if this will actually work now. Present, share screen. We have this. I have sent Nicholas a link. We are on the crime scene. I have, just I have no idea why that is marked out for some reason. Seems like people have been going through. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what is going on with the internet. I don't know what is so it looks like people have been marking through this because, um, I am using the Adobe, so hopefully it can be embiggened and you can all see it. And, this is the copy that, Nicholas gave me. I did send Nicholas a copy or a code to get in. So we are here. And again, this is the crime scene portion of this. So, as I said, you guys, you all know your mental health. If this gets to be too much and you guys have to drop out and be part of the replay crew, there is no shame in that. I completely understand. I I get it. It looks like, you know, again, if at any time you guys need to drop out, take a breath, I might need to. Where in the heck did Friberto go? It's awfully quiet, which is when I get scared. Fry, Fry. Well, that's comforting. He'll be over here in a little bit. So, part one is the crime scene. Now, the defense did state back here in 7 that this is really going to kind of put a hole through the entire state's allegation or theory that one person could have done this, especially someone who is 5'4" and somewhat spherical like Richard Allen. When members of the search party found the girls in the late morning, yeah, I'm telling you, there there is a T-shirt, a Dale Gribble T-shirt on my Amazon in my cart that I'm waiting to buy, but I don't need more T-shirts until I clean out my closet, so it's part of my rewards if I clean out my closet, which I still needed to do, so it's still in my rewards cart. So, but it says, like, the computers know what they're doing. Oh, there he is. Let me see if I can baconate. We'll need fry cam for the love of fry. Why are you? No, sir, not that. You have 94 toys, no cardboard. Don't bite. You are such a butt. Oh, not the vice, not the fi he says, "Ooh, I like your new medical bracelet. I would like to bite it all the time." Unfortunately, the last medical bracelet was a casualty. Okay, fine, you're going down. You have chosen evil. See how you are. You're a Sith Lord. When members of the search party found the girls in the late morning of February 14th, 2027 or 2017, Abby and Libby had been missing for approximately 22 hours. So we don't have a very big window here. The scene was ghoulish. Libby was found at the base of a tree with four tree branches of varying size. Possibly. It is very possible. You know, the victors write the history books, and the Jedi wrote the history books, so Fry is Fry concurs. Libby was found at the base of a tree with four tree branches of various sizes intentionally placed in a very specific and arranged pattern on her naked body. So Libby was found not clothed. Libby was positioned flat on her back with her left arm stretched above her head, touching the base of a large tree. Libby's right hand was covered in blood. So if her left arm was stretched and her right hand was covered in blood, these people are just all right. Whoever did this allegedly is human garbage. Libby's left hand was covered in blood. Blood spots and blood dripping were seen all over Libby's body from head to toe. Now, if you have followed this case, and I'll be stopping in between to kind of give myself a little bit of time. If you have been following this case, you know that Libby's sister was there when they found the articles of clothing in Deer Creek, close to where the bodies were found. And, uh, but fortunately, and thank God, it wasn't the sister that found these bodies because the sister is the one that dropped the girls off. Um, to kind of have fun on this day off from school. They had an extra day off from school. If you're not from the Midwest, I don't know where everyone is from, but sometimes the schools have built-in kind of snow days, and some years we have kind of a mild snow year, so these built-in snow days, sometimes they'll let the kids have, a random day off of school. So it was, this February 13th, it was pretty mild as Februarys go. The girls wanted to go, Libby and Abby wanted to go to the Monon Park Trail because it was one of the places where kids could go. I mean, this is a very small town. You could go like to the Dairy Queen, to the high school, and to the Monon Park Trail. Like those were the places you could go. If you've lived in a small town, there's pretty much that's the places you could go. Let's see. Libby's right arm was placed along the side of her body. One large tree branch had been placed on her left shoulder. This branch was so long it extended above Libby's head several feet, below her legs for several feet as well. Two smaller branches formed a V where her legs joined her body near her private area, with both sides of the V extending upward toward Libby's head. Now, I'm glad that they included, photos because I have a very hard time visualizing this kind of thing. I mean, for someone who reads as much as I do, and I can visualize other things, this part I really have a hard time visualizing. I think it's because I divorce, um, the reality of this from reality, if that makes any sense. But also, it I have to visualize these kinda things because it doesn't make none of this makes sense to me. Okay, with both sides of the V extending upward to Libby's head, with one branch to the left of Libby's head and the other to the right of Libby's head. The last 4 branches extended across Libby's body on a line from her right shoulder to her left shoulder. This 4th tree branch was also connected with the other 3 tree branches. Where was I? Okay. This 4th tree branch was also connected with the other 3 tree branches and was placed under both branches that formed the V. Libby's neck was partially covered with this 4th branch. There appeared to be no blood sprayed or dripped onto the leaves or the tree. Near Libby's neck head and sliced neck. It appeared likely that Libby had been killed at a nearby tree, then dragged to her final resting place, where she was then positioned before having the tree limbs placed on her in a very specific pattern. The murderers treated Abby very differently. Abby was found just a few feet away from Libby. Her body was not placed parallel to Libby, but rather at an angle, with Abby's legs just a few feet from Libby's legs. However, both of their heads were found a few feet farther apart from each other. Significant differences existed between how Libby's body was found and how Abby's body was found. Abby was not found at a base of a tree. Abby was fully clothed. In fact, Abby was dressed in Libby's sweater and jeans. No blood appeared on Abby's clothing, meaning that she was likely murdered while naked, then dressed by the murderers after she expired, after the blood had stopped spilling from her neck. Abby's hands were clean. What is wrong with people? I mean, okay, no blood. So you have Liberty and you have Abby, and they're both going to be, if they are not alive, they're both going to be, to forgive the pun, it's in poor taste, but they're both going to be dead weight, to have, for the lack of a better term. So you are unclothing these, it's going to be fairly hard work. You're going to try to be doing this, and moving around while there's people on the trail. I mean, this is not as, I'll have to pull up aerial photos of where they found the body versus where the trail is. I mean, this is not, while it is a secluded area, it's not terribly secluded to the point of, you could do Fryberto. Fry, come here, come here, come here. Can I see the toy? Uh-huh. That's not gonna work. Oh, no, we need something to break the tension. This is god awful. But so what I am saying is it stretches, while it could be technically possible that one person could do this and set this scene up, it stretches credulity. Again, if the defense can show that, by electronic, because again, Richard Allen claims that he was on his phone checking stock prices. So say they have electronic pings that show that his phone moved from the area at or about 3:30 or 1:30. Okay, so he is out of the area. And they're claiming that this all happened, let's say we go with the timeline between, let's be generous and say it happened between 1 and 1:30. Are you telling me that he had, which we know is wrong because we know that the bridge thing happened at 1:30, but let's say we give him 30 minutes to do all this. I say I call BS, but I mean, maybe I am wrong. Okay, let's see here. Abby's hands were clean, no blood. Abby's feet were clean, no blood. Other than blood found around Abby's neck, there were where the murderers had inflicted the fatal wound, very little, if any, blood was found anywhere else on Abby's body or clothing. The juxtaposition of the spots and streaks of blood found all over Libby's body with the lack of blood on Abby's body, undergarments, overgarments, is stark. The murderers appear to have gone to great lengths to keep Abby's body and clothing clean from blood. Abby was found on her back like Libby. However, unlike Libby, Abby's elbows were bent with her right and left arms placed over her or on her chest. So maybe like this or like this. Abby's left hand and arm near the leg or near the left side of her face, and her right hand and arm near the right side of her face. Also, Abby's left leg was straight while her right leg was bent at the knee. The murderers also placed her right leg under her left leg. Like Libby, those involved with the murders placed. Oh,
Ah,
hello.
ah, yeah, had some stuff to do that had to be done, but here I am. Ah,
Oh, no problem. I'm over here trying to visualize things because I suck, and all I keep seeing is stick figures with sticks on top of them, and then I'm trying to think, "This is horrifying," and I still can't. It's all like spaghetti on the wall to my in my head, so I'm glad that I I'm glad/sad that they included photos because they had to.
oh, yeah.
Well, I think they did, or they're all circulating over the internet because I think Court TV included some sort of visual representations, I think, trying to explain.
Mm.
Okay, so where was I? Uh, like Libby, those involved in the murder had placed tree branches in a very specific pattern on top of Abby. The pattern looks similar to an asterisk consisting of three branches all joined in the middle. At least one of the tree branches appears to have been cleanly cut by some instrument like an electric saw rather than split or broken by hand, indicating that this was a preconceived plan. Well, see, that I can visualize. I can't visualize what they're talking about. But maybe that's just as well. Above Abby's head were smaller sticks that had been placed over her hair, crudely mimicking horns or antlers. The amount of blood that would be perhaps expected at the crime scene based on the location of the injuries of both girls was not visible in the crime scene photos. 18. So let's go. Uh, Defense team speculates that because of the lack of blood visible in the crime scene photos, especially concerning Abby, the murderers may have saved the blood to be used in future rituals. It's conjecture.
Mm. Yeah, and outdoors in the woods and everything, things soak up quite fast. So,
Yeah. Well, and it was 22 hours they were gone, so,
mm,
yeah, that and overnight, so but what did I miss? A 17. Okay, so they're saying that the, thing that was on top of Abby, this stick configuration is spot on resemblance for the rune, haggle or Hagal. This rune is used to depict the word for hail. Therefore, the combination of the haggle rune found on Abby and the rune, Azuz rune found on the tree
mm.
would combine to proclaim Hail Odin. This sentiment is one of the many Easter eggs Brad Holder left behind on his Facebook page on multiple posts. I mean, okay. I don't know. Let me see if I can pull up the Court TV. Because I know they had the images. Here we go.
Yeah, the Hegel rune is a modern rune, so it's not a part of at the time, at least.
Yeah, well, I'm
Not,
just
yeah.
well, I don't want the whole video, I just want the, still image that they had up. Let me see if I can stop this screen, present. Do. Alright, so this is oh, for the love of God, I don't want that. I need an assistant. But this is what they're talking about when they're talking about how the
Mm.
girls were laid out.
And the
Because it's
sticks
hard.
were laid out that way. Okay.
Yes, and so they're going on to describe this, and I know I got a question about why the defense needed to put this all in here, and I think that, eh, again, having to force
Mm,
the defense to shift the, what is it? The shift the burden of proof to the defense, but also to prove that, oh, so there you
mm,
go. That's the Hagel or Haggle.
mm.
I'm gonna say Haggle.
Yeah, Haggle. Yeah. Hi, MLS. Hi, Dave. It's the from the Armanen system, and it's
Ah,
yeah, it's not a proper rune. It's a afterthought of sorts. There are runes older that resembles that one, but with not exactly that meaning.
ah. So it's a cosplay rune. I see.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
what I think that they
mm,
had to do is they have to what they're doing now is they're showing that one 5'4" man who's somewhat spherical could not do this all by himself in 30 minutes. Uh,
mm.
I think is what they're trying to do, at least in my guess. Are you wanting to show that or
Uh, yeah, I didn't. I was sorry. Just checking out more about the Armanen runes and
oh,
dun, dun, dun.
le okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Um, the defense has provided the court with 12 crime scene and autopsy photographs marked as exhibits 5 through 16 as quote unquote confidential. These photographs support the descriptions provided in the previous paragraphs. In addition to the unusual way the girls were posed, including stick formations placed on their bodies, uh, other unusual marking found on a tree nearby, a similar or a symbol that looked similar to the letter F appeared approximately 4 feet above the base of the tree 19. The F resembles a rune called Zeus, so which stands for Odin, again when paired with a Haggle rune. Okay, so let's see here. This F symbol was the same F symbol found in many of Brad Holder's Facebook page, which
Mm,
will be attached, including Holder's creepy self-drawn illustration, which a red F rune was found at the base of a tree where a man appeared to be sacrificed on a tree. Well, isn't that special? I mean, this
mm.
man has allegedly done everything but stand under the tree and said, "Well, hello. I am your, suspectorate."
Yeah, it is this one.
Okay.
A resemblance an F.
Okay, so this would be it so is the elder one the actual one, or is it the younger one that looks more like a equal sign or a equal sign with a line through it? The
Well, you have the Proto-Germanic, which is where the original one. Then you have the Old English, or and then you have the Old Norse. So there are differences in depending on who used it. But the first one is usually used simply. More it's simple to paint or understand, so to speak.
Okay. True, true, Bobby. It's really it's grosser that they're ridiculous idiots, if
Yeah,
true. Probably do need to read at higher resolution if that's what you're reading.
yep.
That could be a you problem, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. The F was red in color, and later DNA testing showed the F had been painted on the tree using Libby's blood as the so-called paint. The additional blood spatter was found at the base of the same tree. All the blood at the base of the tree appears to have been Libby's blood as well. The defense has also provided the court with Exhibit 17, DNA documentation supporting the fact that Libby's blood was the source of the F painted on the tree. Said exhibit is marked as confidential. Well, not anymore. The
Yeah.
defense.
Yeah, but I think they mean the actual F painted
Oh,
on the
blood.
tree and blood spatter below the tree. That's
Well,
yeah.
has also provided 2 photos of this F found on the nearby tree, herein called the F tree. Exhibits 18 and 19 marked as confidential. Defense is also providing a photo of the F tree from a wider angle for the court to have perspective as to where the F tree is located relative to the bodies. That confidential photo has been marked Exhibit 20. Under Abby's left lower back, a shoe was found. This shoe is believed to be Libby's shoe. Under the shoe, a cell phone was found. The cell phone was later determined to be Libby's phone. This information was confirmed by the recent deposition testimony of Leggett, Lesenby, and Holman. According to recent depositions taken of Sheriff Leggett, the famous video of the person that many people call Bridge Guy was found on this phone. Additionally, allegedly found between the 2 girls buried under leaves and dirt was a single bullet. The defense has provided 2 photos of the shoe cell phone found under Abby's legs and marked them as exhibits 21 and 22 and filed confidentially. Also, the defense has provided 3 photos of the bullet purportedly found in the ground between Abby and Libby, marked these photos as exhibits 23, 24, and 25. It should be noted that as of the date of this memo, the defense has no photographs of the bullet allegedly found between the girls after it was removed from the ground. No photo or video or example shows the bullet as it was being pulled out of the ground. No photo or video of the bullet immediately after it was pulled from the ground. No photo or no video or photograph of all sides of the bullet immediately after it was pulled from the ground. No photographs of the bullet next to a measuring device to show its length. No photo that shows the bullet or what the bullet looked like once it was pulled from the ground could provide proof that it was the same bullet that ended up in the evidence locker room. Okay, so 20. On September 8th, 2023, the defense did receive photographs of the bullets at the forensic lab where it was tested. However, the defense still has not received photos of the bullet from the crime scene, uh, of the crime scene technicians pulling the bullet out from the ground or placing it into an evidence bag, which is standard practice,
Mm.
especially in murder case.
Yeah,
So,
I mean
holy
that
shit.
is a complete breach of the trail of evidence. You have to.
Holy
There's
shit.
the bullet. They measure mark the bullet, measure the bullet, or at least mark with one of these thingies,
Yeah.
measures, and
I mean,
then
we've seen it.
yeah,
We've all been bored
photograph,
to tears.
yeah, and that's yeah.
What the hell are they playing at with, Nick? I mean, I look, I get that you wanna find whoever did this. I really
Mm,
well, I mean, it doesn't appear that they wanna find that
mm.
okay, let's say this is normal, not clown world, and you wanna find whoever did this. Why are you doing such a terrible effing job?
Either doing such a terrible effing job, or they have had photos, but they magically disappeared. Because as you told me about that bullet, it had been circulated through the defendant's gun. Maybe couldn't exclude. So
Yeah.
speculatively, he had gun, he had ammo. It's easy to circulate by just
I
place. I mean, that
well,
is what the defense will are saying with a lot of words. That is what the
yeah.
defense are saying. We can't rule this out that it was planted.
Alright, so shockingly in his deposition, Sheriff Leggett admitted he also has not seen any photographs of the purported bullet taken once the bullet was pulled from the ground. 21, and it says, Leggett Depot, page 69, lines 11 through 18. I do like how they pull directly from the deposition and
Mm,
catch them out at it because I have a feeling the state's gonna be like, "Nuh-uh."
mm,
And the defense is gonna be like, "We pulled it straight from their depositions."
yeah, and not only the bullet has to be tested. Okay, it was in between the girls. Okay, is there blood on it? Is it dirt on it? How did it look? But all of a sudden, it appears on the examiner's table. I would assume it's quite clean in that
Well,
photo.
also, if it was under detritus, I mean, if it was under leaves and dirt and stuff,
Yeah.
then how is it that it how did they assume it went with this crime scene? I mean, that is
Mm,
it's not where you should hunt. I mean, let's be clear,
yeah.
it's not where you should hunt, but people hunt where you're not supposed to hunt, let's be
Mm,
honest. Now Richard Allen obviously says he wasn't hunting there,
mm.
but, how do you link in in a case where no one was shot, how do you link a bullet to a crime where no one was shot and it's under detritus? It it just you don't have the photos. I just for the love of way to go, Indiana. We are doing an awesome job here.
Mm.
In other words, the only photos that the defense has found in discovery it received are of the bullet still buried in the ground. At this time, the defense has no idea if photos of the bullet after it was removed from the ground even exist, or two, the photos exist, but the state has not yet turned over important photographs to the defense, or three, the defense has missed these photos in voluminous discovery. Either way, the defense has asked the prosecutor to please locate these photographs.
Yeah. And they avoid saying it out loud here.
Yeah.
Uh, or for it's a plant.
One man alone completed all these tasks in less than 1 hour and 17 minutes, 22. So Jerry Holdman testified in his deposition that the investigators estimated the time of death was occurring somewhere between 2:30 and 3:30 p.m. So that's the time of death they're going with. Now,
Mm,
publicly, Leggett has claimed under oath that one single solitary person was responsible for abducting and murdering the girls, Richard Allen. Claiming publicly that Richard Allen acted alone would allow Leggett to continue proclaiming that the murders were not the result of a coordinated abduction and subsequent ritualistic sacrifice at the hands of a pagan religious cult. Well, I mean, or you could just say a bunch of hillbilly rejects. I mean,
mm.
no, if Leggett continues trying to convince everyone publicly that one man and one man alone, Richard Allen, performed all the tasks, then Leggett must convince others, including the public, to ignore the voluminous mountain of evidence that supports coordinated efforts of multiple Odinites. I
Yeah, I
don't
mean
know.
that I would go back to look at these descriptions of the crime scene to see if I can see something else in
Well, I
there.
think they're going to get into it. I think the
Yeah,
problem is that, unfortunately, we're still in the intro
yeah,
where they're getting to it, and I think it's like when we did the trial backward and we're like,
mm,
"Huh, uh-huh, I don't know.
mm, yeah.
Why?" Let's see, however, you will learn later in this memoranda that Leget's claim that one man acting alone, and certainly not an organized band of cultists, murdered those girls is actually not something that he, Leggett, believes in private based upon one-on-one conversations with other law enforcement. Still, to be fair to Legett's public proclamation under oath, let's test
Mm.
Legett's claim that one man, Richard Allen, acted alone by reviewing all the tasks that this 5'4" man would have had to accomplish in order to pull off the abduction, ritualistic murder, then staged crime scene that was found February 14th, 2017. All right. So this one man would have had to have been solely responsible for marching Abby and Libby down a steep hill. I haven't been there. I plan to go not this weekend, but next weekend down to the Monon High Bridge. Uh, I will not be going on the bridge, even if I were well bodied and fully able bodied. Uh, that'd be a hard pass. That's a no. Uh, that thing looks like a death trap. And I mean that kindly. That is no. Uh, let me see if I can pull up a picture of the Monon High Bridge. All right. Oh, for the love of Cheetos, I don't want an article. I just want an image, you people. Stop. I hate the internet sometimes. All right, so as you can see, it is a terrifying death trap of deathness, and that's not
Oh,
including the creepy guy. So this is what kids would do for fun. They would just walk across it like
yeah.
again, it's a small town. You have young, semi-feral children who, don't have anything to do but go to Disney or not go to Dairy Queen, go to the high school, go to the park. That's what they did.
Mm.
You know, y It's a test of bravery and courage, kind of like Vikings. They would test their mettle, they would go across. It seems horrifying to me, but as a non-teenager, old person who fairly feels like that's a terrible idea, I will be taking video of it, but I will see how steep the hill is. This one man would then have had to march both girls through the wood for some distance, and I will try to get, an aerial picture tonight of where the body was found in relatively, compared to the bridge. At some point in this time, this single solitary man would have had to cross a cold river whose depth was nearly 3.5 feet. At this depth of the water was only 2 feet higher, or if the water were only 2 feet higher, Richard's whole body would have been completely immersed from head to toe. Uh, with the cold water rising well above his waist, this man acting alone has to worry about himself crossing the rushing river while also trying to corral 2 girls, keeping them from running or screaming, knowing that houses are not very far away. So I will say that there was an immediate, rush to suspect, I believe the landowner, that his house backs up to the, area where the girls were found.
Okay.
Now he was, an older guy, kind of sus. I mean, not but he was a little older, kinda weird. But he also would not have been physically able, but since the general public did not know kind of how the girls passed away and how the scene was, we were not really sure it there was a general lack of understanding of maybe kind of the physicality needed to commit this murder.
Mm.
So, he was wrongfully maligned almost until his death. Uh, this man would have on his own, then would have had to march the girls up to the site of the murders, all while all 3, because of the depth of the water, were wearing undergarments, pants, shirts, jackets, socks, and shoes that were drenched with water from the river crossing. Now there was evidence, as I was saying in the beginning, that the sister was there when they found the body. She was searching the river, and there was evidence that whoever made them cross the river had them take off their shoes and socks prior to crossing. So I believe she was on the other side, and they'd found shoes of at least one of the girls, if my
Mm.
memory holds. So
Which is weird because then it would be even more slippery.
well, if you have the girls take off their shoes before they cross and you don't take yours off,
Yeah,
they are somewhat hobbled.
yeah, yeah. That's true. I don't have the murderous mind you have.
Well, I'm an evil genius, what can I
Yeah.
say? Once he and the girls arrived at the murder scene, this single solitary person then would have had to subdue either Abby or Libby in rope or some other restraining device in order to have the ability to unalive the unsubdued child without fear that the other child would run away and scream. Because of the lack of blood in the girls' clothing, each child would have had to have completely disrobed before the single solitary man sliced them across the neck. So this man, acting alone, either asked each child to disrobe or he assisted them in disrobing. Uh, let's see. Trooper Jerry Holman of the Unified Command has confirmed that both girls were nude at one point in time, as Liberty was found at the crime scene completely nude, while evidence showed that, quote, Abby at one point had her clothes off. 25. Apparently that's in his deposition. I don't know how he knows that. I guess it'll come out at some point.
Mm.
Once the girls were disrobed and nude in the middle of the forest in the middle of the day in February, and once he had subdued one of the girls to prevent her from running away, the man acting alone could unalive them. This man acting alone would have to, use the sharp instrument, inflict the wound, then as the second child watched, keep the second child quiet.
Mm.
Then he would have to do the same to the second child. The autopsy notes taken while or by Leggett revealed that the pathologist stated uh,
Mm.
because of the particular vein was severed, Abby did not pass quickly. Whoever did this needs a look from me. to you a deep and abiding nut punch, allegedly in Minecraft.
Yeah, you know there are these nutcrackers.
I just look for the I mean, how do they think you can't look at the scene, and that's the part that bothered me this entire time, is that this seemed like and look, I am no criminologist, but this was a very high risk scene to go into. You have a fairly busy trail. You have a day where you know there are people that are going to be out there. It's an unseasonably warm day. You have, a trail where people are going to be walking. It's a high risk scene. It's a high risk to take 2 girls at once. It seems like something that a first-time unaliver would not pick, to me. And this is only someone who's, like, deeply into true crime. I'm not a behaviorologist or anything, but it just doesn't seem like something that a noob would pick. And then you have all of this additional posing and disrobing, re-robing, positioning, all of this thing. And then you think the guy from the CVS is gonna do it? I just it especially a guy from the CVS who's shown no proclivities to anything that's going to have any sort of ceremonial look, like, I know Gary Ridgway did some posing, he's the Green River Killer, just to screw with the FBI guys.
Mm,
Like, I know he did that because he thought it was hilarious. But this seems there's a sense of almost arrogance and it I don't know. It's just this doesn't had
mm,
they let even a little bit of this out, people would have been able to say, "Hey, my friend is kinda" it would have focused the
mm,
public's tip. This is the part that pisses me off. I understand the need to hold back some information because you don't want all of this getting
mm.
out and then people acting like weirdos.
Yeah.
But the fact that the public had nothing, we were sending in tips about, some idiot boyfriend and things like that when we could have said, "Hey, you know, this person is going to need to be fairly physically active.
Mm,
It might be 1 or 2 people. This might be a group of people. Hey, do you know, people that might have just something?" Because as a person who's actually followed this case, we had no idea. I mean, we were putting up old people. I mean, the Kleins, the dude is like 600 pounds. There's no way he could have done this. So it does irritate me that, again, had they had more strategic release of information to the public, this could have maybe been solved sooner, or we could have, I don't know.
mm,
Ugh. To give Leggett as much additional time needed to sell his preposterous story that one man committed all these tasks in a short period of time, we will presume that this one man acting alone took Abby's life first and Libby passed away second, so that he, the lone killer, could efficiently handle all the other tasks necessary while Abby passed away. Additionally, after Abby passed away, the man acting alone would have had to wait, for enough time that, she bled out. As there was, no blood found on Abby's clothing other than around the neck area, both on the outer garments and garments, meaning that he had to wait until she was
mm,
completely exsanguinated. Uh, Once this man acting alone inflicted the injuries to Abby's neck and stuff, he let's see, left her on the ground somewhere away from where she was laid to rest, to leave as little blood on the scene, and then brought her back where she was eventually laid to rest, posed her, and placed the sticks on her body. Uh, he then um, he then unalived Libby, used that particular blood to make the F, and then moved her to where she was found. Now, he didn't Libby's body, if you remember from the crime scene, was not handled with as much care. Uh, she was found nude. Uh, there was a lot of blood on her body, and I believe she was the one that had her left arm up, I believe. Um, okay, guys, we get that she died. I know they're trying to make it as horrific as possible so that it seems terrible, but I'm going to skip over that because it's can't. Um, while waiting for okay, so basically he arranged the girls all while waiting for everything to happen because basically he had to wait for both the girls to finish bleeding, to move them all into the area, select the sticks, put them all where they're going to be, cut them up, I guess, grab his pocket electric saw or whatever. I have no idea. So after gathering the selected branches and sticks, this man acting alone would have to carefully arrange the sticks in the pattern found at the crime scene. He would have to take the largest, longest branches, use his dexterity to lift that branch over Libby's left shoulder next to her head. Next, the man would have to have taken a smaller stick, placed it under Libby's neck on a straight line from Libby's right shoulder to her left shoulder, but over the previously laid large branch that the man acting alone had placed over Libby's left shoulder as described in 14A. Next, he would have had to grab one of the longer sticks, placed it on Libby's right thigh near her private area. The stick would have been placed alongside the right side of Libby towards her head, but over the short stick discussed in 14C above. The stick starting near Libby's private area would form the right side half of the V, along with the sticks discussed in 14D. Next, in order to form what can be described as the V, the man acting alone would have to take the other stick, place it in Libby's left thigh near her private area, connect the stick described to 14C at the base of the V. So basically, he would have to do all of this stuff in almost an hour. Then he would have to, as all of this is happening, for lack of a better term, and I wish, take Abby's body, redress it, and unfortunately, I can't think of a better term right now, but she's going to be dead weight. So you are going to have to redress her. I mean, and this is if you've ever had to redress a sleeping toddler, this is hard. If you've
Mhm.
Starting with the undergarments Abby was wearing without leaving any blood, his, Abby's, or Libby's on the undergarments except around the neck area. So that's the other part that really I don't understand how he's able to do this because he manages to put 2 bras on Abby's body. So he puts Libby's bra and Abby's bra on Abby's body, but he also managed to do all of this without getting any blood transfer, either his own
Or
or
DNA.
I or either of the girls on
Mm.
either of the bodies
Mm.
unless it's the neck area.
Yeah,
It's
and I mean, if they test the clothes for DNA and found none of his DNA, at least according to their reports, well, then gloves. I mean, then all of a sudden you need a whole attire to protect you from leaving traces of yourself.
yeah, that's I mean, and it's sweaty work. I mean, you would think they're let's see, if they've gone through a creek that's
Mm,
wet, it does seem I mean, they're wet clothes, so you're trying to put wet clothes
mm.
on basically a dead weight body, and you're putting a second bra on them. Once both bras were secured to Abby's body, this man acting alone would have had to so he put all of the clothes basically on the right person, he just put 2 bras on, which was weird.
Mm.
Once he had so, again, then he positioned Abby, uh, I'm not gonna go in again, you'll see
And
basically
this is
he
just
posed her.
description on how he must have acted to put the clothes back on.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can go in and look, but it's basically going to say that, again, you have to and this is pedantic. It doesn't say that they found another set of clothing. Um, they are they haven't found, like, an extra set of male clothing or anything like that, thus far that I've seen.
And everything happened without him leaving his DNA on the crime scene or on the bodies or anything. I find that highly unlikely.
That's my problem is where's the touch DNA? Where is where is it that, if he happened to use a sharp something or other to unalive them, where he nicked himself?
Mm.
If they were walking in the creek or they were walking past the woods, where is it maybe a brush got him or something? If he's having to move all of these branches, where did a branch maybe get him? I don't know. Something about this is very off to me, and I don't
Yeah, point 66 is quite disturbing because that method consisted with pagan sacrificial rituals found on Brad Holler's Facebook page. I mean, those are for animals, not for um, the rare and few occasions where there actually was human sacrifice. The only thing is how, if you were treated someone as a criminal, they have committed crime against you, then
well,
they would be
and
treated as animals. And that in that case, you have this. Did Abby or Libby break up with Holder's
so,
kid?
yeah, I do believe that Abby, I believe it's Abby, I have to look, but
Mm,
I think it will go in further in the memoranda, but I believe Abby was dating Logan.
mm.
Okay, wait, where's 30? Man acting alone just also happened to have found a branch with a clean cut end on the woods. Later in this brief, you'll see a Facebook post in which, a few weeks before the murder, a man that looks like Patrick Westfall is using an electric saw to cut a tree branch. Brad Holder leaves a comment saying, cutting runes. See footnote 99. Have
Oh,
these people, like all the evidence?
yeah. I mean, how with those formation of the sticks on the body and the blood on the tree formed as a rune. Either someone is trying to frame the
Them.
Odinites or it is the Odinites. How do you not come to that, at
I
least
mean,
suspicion?
Occam's razor is kinda sharp as far as, like, This is
Mm,
either this or it's pretty much this.
yeah.
I, I, again, I just logic dictates that this can't be just look, even me on my most fit would have a really hard time doing this by myself.
Yeah. And I mean, everything should still be in evidence to be retested, the clothes and everything.
It
So
just it's I don't understand what the Carroll County it just seems like the Carroll County has county sheriff's department, police department has had an innate resistance to
maybe they didn't.
investigating this
Yeah,
fully.
this looks like uh, ritualistic because even with zero knowledge in old runes, why would anybody place sticks in that formation over a body? Why would it
Yeah,
be an F painted using blood on a tree? I mean, what the F?
yeah, so let's see here. Okay, so after he gets done, getting all the clothes on and putting all the branches, once the man, acting alone instead of along, placed the first larger branch across Abby's body, then he would have taken the second shorter okay.
Hmm.
Okay. The man acting alone would have taken some of the spilled blood from Libby, dipped his finger into Libby's blood. He would have then, dipped maybe taken and put the F on there.
Yeah.
Okay. So he would have located certain, clothing items. He would have gathered the remaining clothing items. He would leave the immediate area around the crime scene, walk to the river. He would have tossed the clothing items into the river. So they did find, um, like I said, they found some of the girls' clothing in the river, leading them to think that um, whoever had abducted them made them either take off their shoes and socks or something in the river. Uh, Once the man acting alone made sure he left nothing behind, including his DNA, hair, footprints, shoe prints, he would be able to leave. Uh,
Yeah.
it doesn't so he said that he was walking alone on his way to 300 North to walk down the road in broad daylight, open to public rather than the woods under cover. This man then walked some distance westbound on 300 North before allegedly being spotted by Sarah Carball at 3:57 p.m. Uh, well, so there were 2 sketches. There was a kid, there was an older person sketched originally that was let out. And then there was a sketch that had a person significantly younger, and allegedly, people since this has dropped have said that, allegedly, and I stress allegedly, and do not contact these people, do not give them trouble or anything. It it they look like a dead ringer, again, allegedly for the 80 billionth time, to Brad Holder and his son Logan, um, and Logan was apparently, I believe, dating Abby, and I think they had just broken up. Yes, so this was the man in the sort of cap was the first sketch that we had that was all that we had for several years. That led to the, sort of internet sleuths pulling up, like, Daniel Nations and a bunch of other, people that were on the registry and going kinda ham with a bunch of people that turned out to not be the case. Then we got this sketch that had nothing, eh, I mean,
Yeah. This is the first sketch. This is
yes,
the second sketch that came out years
yeah,
later. So,
and people were Okay, so the local news, were just like, "Oh, so you've got new information." But regular people were pissed. Like,
Mm,
"What the hell? Why are we getting such a different sketch? We've been investing all of our time looking for this dude, and
mm,
now we have a younger, I mean, they don't even look like the same person. Are we looking
mm,
for 2 different people?"
mm,
Um, Gigi, yes, the girls' clothes were wet, they did redress the clothes. I kind of skipped over it. The girls were both nude at some point. Uh, one of the girls was redressed, Abby was redressed, Libby, was left nude, and her clothes were, thrown back into the river. Uh, but y it's just all of the all of the weird. Um, so there was a lot of anger for those of us that had been, really, looking for some kind of action on this case because, you know, we've constantly been told that, they're doing their very best, to look at this case and to do stuff, and we get these 2 different sketches that it doesn't even look like.
well, if anything, this can the defense can say that, well, if they claim that the first guy in the picture to the right, we need information about him, he might be a suspect, and then a few years later we also need about this young fella. Doesn't this say that the police should be investigating the two people theory?
Well, I think the fact that so much was done to the bodies, I think, is going to be the biggest significant
Mm,
doubt. So, and then I guess at the end is one man, 4 foot 5 inches in stature, handled all these tasks from the abduction at the high bridge to crossing over a cold flowing river. Because you have to remember, even though it was unseasonably warm, they're still crossing into a cold water that's still 3 feet high. So regardless of how warm it is ambient temperature-wise, because I think it was in its 40s and 50s, and we're in the Midwest, so that's like balmy weather for us, you know, in February.
mm.
I think it would be like, I'm trying to think Celsius. It's unusually warm for, that time of the year. It's still going to be very shockingly cold in that water,
Yeah.
barely above freezing. Uh, Subduing one girl while the other one is unalived, then unaliving the other girls, then, waiting for one to bleed out, then clothing the one that had to bleed out rather slowly, arranging the sticks, uh, then on top of all of that, you've unclothed them. Now the clothes are wet. The one that had to bleed out fairly slowly, you have to reclothe in those wet clothes. And not only are you going to do that, but you're gonna add an extra bra to that one chick or one girl. So you are doing that, and then you're going to put all of that on. You're going to stage the scene, you're going to arrange that, you're going to take one of the little girl's blood, you're going to put it on the tree. It's just none of this seems like it's possible to do this. So you have all of this occurred between 17 minutes and 1 hour and 17 minutes after the girls heard the phrase "down the hill" at 2:13 PM. That's 33 in the footnotes. Let's see. Again, Jerry Holman testified in his deposition that investigators estimate the time of
Uh,
death
uh,
somewhere
put
between.
up what you're reading from.
Okay. Oh, crap. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry, I thought you could read, but
Well,
you can't.
we can, but yeah,
Well, see what I'm seeing and then,
yeah.
you know,
Well,
it's been a sorry. I boomered. What can I do? So, basically, again, what they're trying to say is that this would be incredibly difficult for one person to do,
hmm,
and where did they it it doesn't make sense as far as I can see, but I could be wrong. Again, not plausible. And then it says, at his August 8th, 2023 deposition, Sheriff Leggett was adamant one person and one person alone, Richard Allen, was involved in the murder of Abby and Libby. However, off record, Leggett doesn't believe that one man was capable of pulling off all those tasks, especially in such a short period of time, leaving behind a crime scene with no forensic evidence. As referred to earlier, Leggett says one thing publicly under oath and a different thing off record to his buddies. One of those buddies, former sheriff, now deputy sheriff Tony Lesenby, the day after Leggett's August 8th, 2023 deposition, Tony Lesenby was the subject of a deposition. Oh, shit. I have a feeling this isn't going to end well.
mm-hmm.
When Tony Lesenby was asked at his deposition how many people he believed were involved in the murder of Abby and Libby, Lesenby provided a different answer than Leggett. He, Lesenby, indicated that at least two people were involved. The reason Lesenby gave as to his belief that at least two people were involved in the murder was Lesenby's belief that quote, it would be difficult for one individual to accomplish what occurred. When asked if any other law enforcement officers shared this perspective, Lesenby provided a surprising answer based on what Leggett had testified under oath the day before. Yes, at least one other law enforcement officer believed multiple people were involved in the murder of Abby and Libby. Tony Leggett. According to Lesenby's sworn statement, it was common for Lesenby and Tony Leggett to have one-on-one conversations, and that Tony Leggett definitely believed that more than one person was involved.
Oh,
Is that perjury?
not at this stage. It has to be confirmed. They can, what do you call it? They can
They
use it
can't.
during a hearing.
Okay.
Then they can bring forward. So they can't call him a liar, but they can state, okay, but you're claiming one thing here, and your colleague under oath says something completely different. So what is true?
Okay.
Is he
That
lying or are you lying?
okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it does show a propensity to say one thing under oath, and
Mm.
it can definitely go towards propensity. I'm becoming
Mm.
a lawyer all by my own self.
Yay.
Let's see. Uh, Tony Leggett, who just the day before, under oath, claimed only one person, Richard Allen, was involved in the murders privately behind the scenes, was saying something altogether different in one-on-one conversations with his law enforcement friends. If a cult of more than one person in a coordinated fashion lured the girls to the bridge, abducted the girls, then collectively were able to perform all the tasks mentioned in the previous paragraph, that perspective would cut against Leggett's sworn statement that the murderer acted alone. Conversely, even more problematic for Leggett is that stating under oath that he, Leggett, actually believes, i.e., that more than one person was involved in the murders of Abby and Libby, would lead credence to the fact that accumulation of evidence gathered by Murphy, Frenzy, and Click strongly supports that on February 13th, 2017, several men from a pagan religious cult were involved. For some reason, Leggett is obviously not interested in wanting anyone, including Judge Diner, to know that evidence strongly supports an organized pagan cult as being the killers. Therefore, sadly, it's not surprising that Leggett lied under oath when he claimed in his deposition that only one man acting alone murdered these girls. Interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, this will be really interesting because the state has to answer this motion. What will they put
Yeah.
in their motion?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know how they're going to
There are
put it.
certain things in here that is very, very hard to explain away, especially
Well, th
so far after the arrest and everything and and
yes.
everything going on. Why weren't they giving these evidence to the defense until the game was up? And
Well,
still,
yeah,
what
that's
what else is out there that defense didn't find on their own that the state had to turn over?
well, yeah, I guess that's my question. I guess
Mm,
that's what I think that they're going to have a really hard time with
mm,
is, you know, why didn't you look at this certified letter? Why did you
mm,
what why are there differing stories as
mm,
to why you dismiss the FBI? Why,
mm,
um, why this and why that? I don't quite get this whole thing.
mm.
It definitely
Because if it was easy to explain away, then they would have turned it over quite fast. That we believe it is a false track because of this, and this, and show that
yes.
look here what the defendant did. We found in his search history how to make something look like something else or something like that. But
Yeah, it just it I mean, it seems like and maybe I'm crazy here, but it seems like if Richard Allen was really connected to this, he
mm,
would have continued to go back to the scene of the crime. People tend to do that if they are truly these type of sickos.
yeah, and there's so much in this that doesn't make sense that there is no trace because by all accounts, Mr. Allen is not on the top half of the bell curve.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. I mean, he would've you think he would've boasted or been like, "Hur,
Yeah,
hur, hur." I mean, he's he's not the smartest
yeah,
guy.
and coming up with a scheme to implicate somebody else and do it this good, so to speak. I mean, then he had to
Yeah,
research it. And where is the evidence of him researching?
yeah, I don't think his first, thought would have been Odinite cult, because that wouldn't have been my first thought, and I would have thought of that.
But if his aim was to get rid of two girls, then it would have been easier to put them in the river.
Well, yeah, it yeah, I will have to research, the protocol as far as, um I I was generally under the impression, but earlier in the memoranda, it said that the FBI was asked to leave the investigation, and I don't believe they are on the investigation anymore. So, I am now, what I do
Mm,
know is that Richard Allen put him do not talk to the police without representation, even if you
yeah.
want to help the investigation, because what Richard Allen did was, I believe, several years after he realized that he was on the trail that day, he
Mm,
talked to a DNR, so a Department of Natural Resources, officer, and he said, "Oh, by the way, I was on the trail that day. I think I was walking around during my lunch break, looking at, stock prices and stuff. I think I went on the bridge." and, I was there and then I went back to work or something. I
Mm.
can't remember exactly what he said, but he said that they put that in a file and kind of lost it for a couple years. It comes
Ye-
back and he's the suspect now.
Yeah.
So, just saying, be careful, y'all.
Mm.
Uh, and then we're gonna finish up this section, and then I am going to wait until, probably tomorrow until we go into this one
Mm.
because it's going to be fairly dense,
Mm.
uh, just because it goes into who all these people are and why, the defense now thinks that these are the people that actually did it.
Yeah. And just reading, skimming through some of it, and yeah, they have done their homework, the defense.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say is I know, some people are looking very skeptically like this is a defense, paper. What I will say is I have been impressed at their look, I am a sucker. I'm a weird person. I'm a sucker for a footnote. I see a footnote, I get all excited because 'cause I'm a weirdo. I have issues like that, but I love a footnote and, you know, they're they're all over, and the fact that all of this stuff has come through their discovery from the state. I mean, they haven't pulled this out of thin air because believe me, when I first heard Odinites, I thought man, bear, pig. I
Yeah.
was I was like, "Defense, I wanted to love you, but you went full on man, bear, pig." Super
Mm.
serial. But they have done their homework, and the fact that the FBI and I will make a video about this probably later on this afternoon, the fact that a former Westville correctional guard, happened to possibly allegedly Molotov cocktailed, a Terre Haute FBI agent, or office, you know, has
Yeah.
it's not outside of the realm of possibility
Mm.
anymore that this could possibly be something going on.
Mm.
Now, what so they've done their homework. These are not guys, that are saying, "Hey, it's, the one-armed man."
Yeah. I mean, if
So,
this turns out to be horsemen, or nobody on the defense team will have a law license, they are really hanging everything out there with this.
yeah, and I mean, it takes some brass cojones to say, "Hey, this officer lied his ever-living
Mm.
snot off."
Mm.
Because you have to have depositions, you have to have witnesses that will agree to go on record and say, "I didn't say that," and agree to testify against the officer in the Franks hearing, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Now, I will try to figure out when they're going to have the Franks hearing, and I kind of don't wanna go so I can stream it.
Mm. Yeah. But yeah, depending on when it is, I can stream it and you can be my reporter on site.
Well, it it's about 2 hours away too.
Oh.
But, the other thing is that, I have someone in Discord has someone who is a practicing Odinite, and
Oh.
probably next week I will have an interview, if I can set one up, where I can
Mm.
ask him questions. I am trying to come up with more adult questions than "What the actual F?" So, I'm going to just be like,
Mm.
"These guys are
Mm.
asses, aren't they?"
Yeah.
That's
And how many times did your mother drop you when you were a kid? And
Well, I'm like, these guys are idiots. What do you feel about them taking your religions and being morons?
mm,
You wanna punch them in the nuts too, right?
yeah, because there's a clear difference between these Odinites and actual believers in the Asar faith.
Yeah,
There's
so
yeah.
I'm going to do my due diligence and make
Yeah,
sure that
I mean, I
it's
mean, Odinites is for the Asa faith, as Jim Jones is for Christianity.
well, then I'm putting my Kool-Aid packets away, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, team meeting like next week. Cyanide may or may not be included. Let's see. If Leggett had told Judge Steiner that he legit believed that multiple people were involved in the crime, and if Leggett also provided Judge Steiner with a massive amount of missing details of the Odinite involvement in the murder, including the evidence of the Odinite's intimate knowledge of the crime scene, then there's no way that Diner would have or should have signed the warrant. This court will consider whether or will considering whether Legit intentionally or recklessly concealed information and intentionally fabricated facts in his affidavit for search warrant, Legit's duplicity under oath about a number of people he felt were involved in the murders is just one of the many reasons to support the belief that Legit intentionally concealed evidence and fabricated other evidence in his sworn affidavit. Yeah. So they did their homework. I mean, it's from what I have heard in the defense community, this is this is big in Indiana. This is causing a lot of shockwaves.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, as
Yeah. Yeah, and now when this is going to be spread, the word will spread around. Will people come out of the woodwork and start, you know what? My neighbor, he's doing weird stuff with runes. And yeah.
yeah, that's I have a feeling
Hmm. All of a
yeah,
sudden, the tips won't be into the law enforcement. It will go directly to the defense. They will have
yeah,
phone calls and emails about individuals may or may not have been saying stuff, may or may not have been drunk, bragging, may or may not. I mean, things tend to come out of the woodwork
yeah.
when somebody hit the lottery, like here.
Well, what I'm wondering is I I'm excited that the defense is going to get this help, but I'm also worried that this is
Hmm.
another shift in another push for the shift of burden to go directly to the defendant,
Yeah, yeah.
which is not supposed to happen.
The defense shouldn't have to do this. The prosecution should turn everything over the second there is a charged person, and the defense team, okay, here's our stuff. Because, I mean, uh, yeah, I do believe you're right that this is, oh, look at what his defense team did. Why doesn't Russell Brand do the same? Well, because people who are accused have no burden of proof at all. It's the people accusing that has the totality, 100% the burden of proof.
Well, yeah, and we again, bring the civics back to freaking schools. That's the one thing I do like about the
Yeah.
okay, when my son isn't barking and growling at people from under his desk, which at least they didn't spray him with holy water, that was a fun
Mm,
call. Like,
mm,
Miss Mo,
yeah,
did you get our note? No, I haven't opened the
mm.
folder yet. Well, do you know that Griffin was, growling and barking at people from under his desk? Oh, well, no, I didn't. Well, so he was as I'm doing nightly news with Mo and Fry, he is having to write lines like, "I will not bark and growl at people." "Would you stop acting demon possessed in school? You're going to a Christian school now. Stop it." I was like, "I have to wear a skirt now. I have to cosplay as a Pentecostal. Would you stop looking bad? Stop it."
Yeah. But another thing, because what will happen out of this? They will have this frank hearing and everything, and stuff will surface. What won't happen is the cops, the prosecution, the individuals on that team, will they see any kind of penalties? No.
Probably not.
The worst that can happen for them is that the judge in a later stage says, "You have nothing. I'm letting Mr. Allen go." That's the absolute
I
worst that can happen to them. But
I do wonder
imagine if,
if
yeah, there should be severe penalties from hiding evidence from the defense. Severe. Why did you do
yeah.
this? Well, because I felt like it, because I wanted to prove my case. I didn't want to find out the truth. Okay, you are no longer the occupants of a law license.
It seems weird that we have the exact opposite of what we had in the '80s because or
Mm,
in early '90s because the towns in or the town in West Memphis was so quick to hop on Satanism and everything else, and this town is like, "Oh, hell no, we are not doing the cult thing. Oh, no. No, 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 no. It was one person, I swear to God."
mm,
Whereas this
yeah.
one's like, "No, no, no, no. No, no, no. We are already named Delphi. That's too foreign for us." It was totally, totally one weirdo. Dirk, I joke because I actually with my, nerve thing, there's actually this, sort of, uh, Pentecostal, they're workout skirts, but I buy them they have leggings kind of under them or skorts, but I buy them about 2 sizes too big, so they're loose, so I have the skirt and the skort in really comfy kind of sweatpant material, but then I also look like I'm Pentecostal. But they're comfy and I look put together and they don't hurt my legs, so that's what I wear. Yes. Yeah, please help my young feral child learn to not growl under his desk, or I'll have to send him to live with his, his in his spiritual homeland, learn to be a Viking. For just $1 a
I,
day, we can send him to live with Uncle Nick or his Uncle
oh,
Jingles.
I will teach him how to build a trebuchet. I will teach him how to use an axe. There's so much I can teach him.
It'll just be a video of him and Jingles. Him and Jingles, the you know
Roaming the fields, growling
yes,
and hissing. Yeah.
bringing birds to the house. Like, what why? Just why?
Mommy, gifts. Thank you. Half-eaten baby rabbit. How lovely. Yeah.
All I can see is Griffin and Nicholas. "Why do you have Legos?" "Well, uh, 'cause when I don't know, but when Uncle Nick drinks this drink sometimes, he gets really happy, and sometimes I get gifts all the time. I don't know. He got a new suit, and I got Legos. This is awesome." Well, with that on that note, we are going to go into the next section probably tomorrow afternoon. What evidence connects the Odinites to murders? So we are finally getting into the part where I think everyone has kind of been kind of thinking, okay, where is this all going? Now, I will tell you right off the bat, the Southern Poverty Law Center uh, is just about as highly regarded in my mind as the ACLU. Um, and the Anti-Defamation League. So, I will take that with a grain of salt. Yeah, I'll send them to Valhalla
Yeah.
Awaits. Go
Yeah.
play with the ghosts.
Yes, it's cheaper to.
It'll be Lord of the Flies with goats.
Yeah, where you can hang around with the devil's pets. I mean,
I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. I am going to try to figure out where my mother-in-law is because she's supposed to be driving down, but I haven't she's supposed to call me, but maybe she's sleeping in I don't know. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.